What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're back in Forza Horizon 4 today to check out the brand new 2018 Lamborghini Huracan Performante. I gotta say, I wasn't as excited about this car as a lot of people until I drove it, and I gotta say, it drives amazingly well. Never mind we're missing the little Italian stripes down the side, and there's a little bit of a chrome lip around the wheels. That's from the paint job I had on this after I upgraded it. As always in these reviews, we're going to start out by taking a quick look around the car in Forza Vista, so we'll go ahead and just explode everything out. But we will start up close here. I want to show you guys all there's two different names for it. They either call it crushed carbon fiber or forged carbon fiber. It's a lot stronger, a lot lighter than regular carbon fiber, which is really saying something, but it just has this beautiful pattern to it, and you can kind of see why they call it crushed carbon fiber. It almost looks as if somebody just took carbon fiber and crushed it out. It almost looks like a Damascus steel blade almost, if you guys know what I'm talking about, if you're into like knives or cutlery at all. Unfortunately, there's not a whole great view of the engine back here. You don't get to see a whole lot of the V10 that powers this thing. Speaking of the V10 that powers this thing does put out about 630 horsepower, about 443 foot-pounds of torque, I believe. Just about 30 horsepower more than the standard Huracan, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they did lighten the car by 90 pounds, which also does not sound like a lot. But with the added changes just to the exterior of the car in terms of the aerodynamics and stuff, it made for a lot better performing car overall. Now let's kind of close everything up for just a second while I finish looking around the car. You can see up here in the front lip as well, we got a lot of crushed carbon fiber up here, and this also carries over into the interior of the car as well. It's just absolutely full of Alcantara and crushed carbon fiber inside of this thing. As you can see here, it's a little hard to see probably for you guys, but the door pull, where you would actually pull the door shut, is actually crushed carbon fiber on this thing. Once we get in here, I'll close the door up and you actually should be able to see that a little bit better. Yeah, you can kind of see the pattern a little more now. And if you'll notice, they use the hexagon shape all throughout this car, and it's one of the big styling or design influences and carries through just about every piece of the car, even down to the fuel filler door. It has on the indent where you would push it to open it as a hexagon. As you can see, our push button starter is as well. It's not massively different than the standard Huracan exterior wise or internally at first glance, but it's all the small details and accents that really add the extra $75,000 plus to the sticker of this thing. Now we will go ahead and do our audio clips real quick, plus I need to fire it up so you guys can see the gauge cluster. This also has a different display than what the standard Huracan does. So I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm 99% sure this is the same sound the standard Huracan uses, and if you can see that, guys, the game bugs out a little bit there when you're just staring at the steering wheel and kind of bounces back between those two for some reason. But as you can see, we do have, I believe it's oil, water temp, and I cannot remember what the other gauge is supposed to be. I watched Doug DeMuro's review of this where he really goes in depth. All the gauges are in Italian over there anyway, so I possibly would not be able to figure it out regardless. I think it's oil pressure, oil temp, and water temp. I want to say, I could be wrong, that could be up here on the dash display. It's a little hard to see in this view, but as you guys can see, it is definitely a little upgraded inside and out from the standard Huracan. Same goes for performance. It's not a massive upgrade, which is why we will not be driving this car stock today. I already built a tune for it, and we will be racing it like that, but I will jump in here and just show you guys what all is possible to do to this thing. So starting off with conversions, no surprises, 6.5 V12, racing V12. Honestly, you don't really need to throw either one of those in there to get a ton of power out of this thing, because the stock engine with the twin turbos on it can put out over 1400 horsepower. You can rear wheel drive swap it if maybe you wanted to take it and drift it or something like that, or maybe drag race it, although it'd be better just leave all wheel drive. Like I said, we can do twin turbos, or you can do the centrifugal supercharger. I'm not going to throw max upgrades on the engine. Like I said, guys, it puts out a little over 1400 horsepower and I want to say 1,000 or 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. The tune I have for this that I built is right at the top of S2 998. I wanted to make it to where it actually fits in a class where it would be competitive to race with. So going on to the Forza Aero, it honestly is not the worst thing in the world on this car, which is saying something. I think they actually really tried to make it look good on this because a lot of people complain so much. So if you wanted to run the front Forza Aero, it's definitely an option. It would have been really sick if they would have put the crushed carbon on it though too, just so it really matched the car. And then as you can see, the standard Forza wing, although it actually is about the right width for the car if you really wanted it. It kind of sucks though, I'm going to mention it now, because this spoiler, from what I read, is supposed to be fully adjustable for aerodynamics, but in the game tuning it's locked, so if you want adjustable rear downforce, you've got to run the Forza wing. Moving on to tires, we are already on race tires. You can do Horizon race tires, rally tires, drag compound. And we do start out on a 245, which in my opinion is kind of small, but being that this is the entry-level Lamborghini, kind of makes sense. You can go all the way up to a 275, which is what the build I made will be using today runs. In the back, we start on a 305, and you can go up to a 345, which is also what my tune uses. You can only actually do rear rim upgrade on this. Wow, that's kind of hard to say. I should have just said rear wheel upgrades because it's a little easier and flows off the tongue a little better. Oh wow, I did not notice this has a dual piston or a dual caliper setup in the rear for the parking brake out of the factory. That's actually pretty sick. But yeah, you can go up to a 21 if you wanted to, just to get the tire profiles to match front and back. And if we go over here to track with upgrades, it actually is pretty decent all the way out. It actually doesn't poke out much at all, especially once you take a little bit of camber out with race suspension on it. This surprised me. This car does not even come on sport springs. You actually have sport, race, rally, and drift suspension for this thing, and you can see the drift suspension really slams this thing down. I'm not going to go into anti-roll bars. It's average gains every car gets. Obviously they're nice to have. I actually didn't look at the roll cage yet for this, so I will show you guys what it looks like. You'll be seeing it with me for the first time. Wow, you really cannot... Is there even a top bar? I don't think there's a bar across the windshield. I think it only has the hoops. Well, that's a little interesting. I was wondering how much of your view it was going to block, because there's already not the greatest field of view inside of this thing anyways. If anybody's curious, that's what the roll cage looks like. And this is one thing that I was kind of surprised about. We can actually shed a pretty tremendous amount of weight off this thing. It is 3,047 pounds stock. Like I said, about 90 pounds off of what the standard Huracan is. And with race weight reduction, had to like pause for a second there and like really think about saying it so I didn't stumble over it this time. We actually can drop 517 pounds off the car, bringing it down to 2,500 pounds, which is like race car weight for a car that's all-wheel drive and mid-engine. So pretty substantial. We already did talk about max power levels, so we're not going to go into the engines. We're just going to jump out, throw my tune on it, and we'll go out and do some racing, and I'll give you guys my thoughts and opinions as we drive the car and give you guys my final thoughts on whether this car is worth taking the time to get or not. Alright guys, like I said, this tune that we are going to be using is the top of S2 998. We're putting out 1,112 horsepower, 746 foot-pounds of torque, 2,514 pounds, which, like I said, with the race weight reduction, we were like 2,530 something, I want to say. So with like all the extra like engine upgrades that normally lighten it up, it did bring it down a little bit more. We're just barely over 2,500 now, and we're actually really close to a 50-50 weight distribution on this thing. Anyways guys, let's go ahead and load this thing up, take it out. I actually haven't really drove this tune much at all, so I'm gonna take a second to drive it to our first race just to get used to it and give you guys my like initial impressions on how the car drives. I gotta say, stock, it is a great handling and driving car though. I was very impressed with it. It's a very neutral balance. So before we actually start our drive up here, I just want to show you guys around the car now with the upgrades on it. You can see it's a little bit lower, and you can kind of see what I was saying. The like added track width literally like is perfect on this car. It brings it right up to the wheel arch. Unfortunately, because I painted the lips to like a polished aluminum, it got rid of the Italian flag stripes on the side. I really liked them and wish it kept them, but unfortunately, stupid things like changing wheel color apparently also affects that. What can you do? So, as I was saying, this car is very neutral feeling stock. It's got a very nice feeling to the handling. Although it did have a little bit of play towards center in the wheel. It felt kind of loose, and it is stiffer now that I've upgraded the car. Still has a little tiny bit of play. Nothing like what it was, though. Just insane acceleration with that kind of power in the all-wheel drive. Plus those super fat sticky tires on it, it just has grip for days. I gotta say, I really like Lamborghini's all-wheel drive mid-engine layout. It really helps balance out that understeer effect you kind of get with all-wheel drive cars. Just because it's a mid-engine, it kind of helps the car rotate a little bit more, I feel like. It just doesn't want to kind of plow into the corner at first and then grip up and then pull through like a standard all-wheel drive front-engine layout car would. Little off-road there. I'm going to switch back to the cockpit cam so I can actually really tell what I'm doing here for you guys. This is actually a fun section of road to test this car out a little bit on in this too, and I gotta say I'm actually fairly impressed with how I set this up. It feels pretty good for being a baseline. I did forget to mention as well, this thing does come with the same 7-speed transmission that the standard Huracan does, or Huracan. I always say Huracan for some reason. I know that's not really right, but it's a really hard habit to break. I gotta say, even with the minor adjustments I made to the gearing in the 7-speed, it feels really good. The only thing I really did was I brought the gearing into like a 434 or 430, and then I kind of drug third gear out a little bit longer, and then shortened, I believe it was 5th and 6th up a little bit. And it feels perfect, honestly. It pulls so hard in every gear. I actually did forget to mention through this entire beginning of the video, guys, I actually believe I did mention it only takes 50% completion to get the car unlocked, but I didn't tell you guys what I did. I actually live streamed it earlier. I'm filming the video after unlocking it in the stream, and the stream actually only lasted 35 minutes, and that was with me kind of screwing around, making mistakes. It still only took that long to unlock, so it's a really easy car to get. It's definitely worth it if you have a half hour even to spare to unlock it. I almost went to fumble for my handbrake there. I'm so used to playing Rally Sims so much now. I always want to reach for my handbrake to start. But as you guys can see, I do have this set as a Lamborghini versus Ferrari series race, which I wasn't originally intending, but I didn't want to race this thing against track toys because I absolutely hate that class of cars. So this actually should be pretty interesting, and we'll kind of get to see how it does against the better Ferraris that are in the same tier as this. There's no way I grinded gears on that downshift. I don't know if this is some rubber banding hijinks right now, or if just the builds the AI is running have way more power and less grip than me, but they are doing an amazing job of pulling away from this Performante. Oh! I went to upshift to 5th right before that corner because I couldn't tell I was coming up to it. And that's why you pay attention to your surroundings and not just the cars around you when you're racing. Oh, understeer there. Get out of the grass. I think that might have been my fault though. I might have needed a downshift and I actually didn't, or I might not actually give it enough steering angle either, because a lot of these all-wheel drive Lamborghinis do tend to need a little more steering input in Horizon, I've noticed. I really feel like I should be able to shift this thing so much faster. Wow, I don't know what the AI was doing there. I feel like I should be able to shift this so much faster even on H pattern than what's allowing me to without grinding gears and just weird, like, over revs and stuff, but the game just will not let me do it. And I know for a fact this car can shift faster than this with its, like, dual clutch automatic. It has, I believe it's a dual clutch. It might be a single clutch automatic. Ooh, took out the fence. Definitely got to be a little careful on the throttle on the corners with this build, with that kind of power. Oh ho ho! We were literally right against his door there and somehow did not go into him. This thing does not like that corner at all. Oh, a little oversteer. Curb really unsettled me there and just caused the rear to start coming around on me. That was a little sketchy for a second. I gotta say, not bad for just getting like warmed up to the car and the tune. Alright guys, I kind of unintentionally made the ultimate Ferrari vs Lamborghini showdown here because I didn't know this thing was going to be in track toys before I started the video. And I had originally intended on going to the Goliath for the last race, so this is what we're doing. And I did bump the AI up to unbeatable, so this could definitely be a struggle. They don't necessarily drive better, they just are faster, they rubber band more, and they like to smash into stuff a whole lot more and have no regard for any other vehicles around them. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to do my best not to use rewinds in this race, but I'm definitely not going to say I'm not going to use them at all because this is a very long race. I've already gave it a couple attempts and gotten just absolutely annihilated by AI, sort of like that right there. As you can see, they don't wait for windows to pass once you bump the difficulty up. They just kind of will send it from a mile away and ram into you if you happen to get in the way. Whoa! Oh my god, what is happening? And this is exactly what I was talking about. This is why I only ever race on highly skilled most of the time, because oh my god, I'm getting rammed. I just had an AI appear. I'm definitely saving this one for the video whether I win or not. There is just absolute madness happening in this race at this point. Oh, barely caught that. Oh, I'm getting pushed out by a Ferrari. Oh. This is insane. It may as well be a demolition derby at this point with how the AI is wanting to drive. Oh, okay. Let's say I don't know if I'm able to slow this thing down and get it stable in time for this corner. Uh-oh, we're going wide. This is where we're going to use a rewind. We've had so much AI tomfoolery. Yes, I just used the word or phrase tomfoolery. I don't know if it's a word or a phrase, actually. So, we're going to break into our rewinds a little bit here and correct our mistake. This is really nasty through there. There's some bumps that like you can't even see whatsoever. It's just tossing the car around. Oh, understeer again. Oh boy. Yep. And this is what unbeatable AI looks like in Forza. Why did I do this to myself? Whoa, missed 6. That's a first. I've never missed 6th gear like that before. I'm gonna get hit. Oh wow, I didn't. I was like, had a feeling I was gonna get nailed by that guy behind me. I was not even gonna try to get past that Urus. I was way too worried he was gonna come swinging across there and just blast into my door. Oh my god! I want to use a rewind because that was some of the jankest stuff I've seen in a long time, but we're just gonna keep going. Come on, Performante. Oh, this is fast. There's not a whole lot of cars in Horizon that make me say, oh, this is fast. But this is definitely one of them going through this section. It feels like you're just absolutely flying in this car. Oh, and I took another one to the door. I cannot believe those 4 people in front of me are that fast. That is insane. I'm getting pulled on by the guy behind me too. I can hear him coming up in my headset. Oh, this is a nasty corner. I need to slow down some. It's not really sharp, but it's so bumpy and uneven. It'll really make you just unload the suspension and go flying off the course. Wow. It's a good thing I got out of the way when I did, I think, or else I would have died. Wow, we actually gained a position. A lot of people must have screwed that corner up. That really unloaded the suspension bad. I was not expecting that at all. I know that corner will do that, but I've never had it happen to me quite that drastically before. Usually I can take it pretty fast. Oh, come on. A little too much throttle on that one. I gained up way more speed than I was prepared to lose coming into that corner. Over 220 through there. This thing is insane. Come on, I was gonna say grip up for me a little bit. Those top 3 are way up there. There's no way. If I wouldn't have gotten just like blasted by the AI so many times and screwed over by stuff like that and really been paying attention the whole race, maybe I would have had a chance for coming in the top 3, but it would have been a struggle then even, I feel like. Not the car's fault though. I really feel like that has more to do with just the way Forza's... We're just going to pretend I didn't do that either because I was too distracted talking to drive properly. But I feel like it comes down to more how like the difficulty level in Forza works. And the way, like, the game actually makes it harder. Wow, I did the exact same thing. Maybe it wasn't worth blaming it on the AI, or the AI. Maybe that was all my fault. But yeah, like, they don't actually get better or drive faster in a true sense of the meaning of driving faster. They drive faster by being super reckless and careless, and it makes it impossible to get past them, and it feels like their cars are just way, way too upgraded for the class that you're in. At least when you're racing them on a wheel. On a controller, it probably is a lot easier. Ooh, just about understeered off there too wide. Oh, I should not have looked at the map. I was trying to see how far away he actually was, and I look up and I'm in a fence already. Well, what can you say? I mean, that's not a bad finish overall. Definitely could have gone a lot worse. And wow, that was good timing. My controller literally shut off right as I finished that race. Well, guys, I gotta say, this car has definitely been a blast to drive. There's so much you can do in terms of, like, different styles of builds to it. You could really have a lot of fun with this thing. Obviously, this is kind of at the extreme of building it. Unfortunately, this car does come S1 900 already, so any upgrades are automatically going to bump it into S2, which is what we were racing in. So that does kind of pose a problem, that unless you want to race it completely stock, you have to bring it up into S2. But as you've seen, it does do well. It's just once you go so high in the difficulty, the AI are just unbearably annoying to drive with. Definitely a car worth adding to your collection though. Like I said, it only took 50% completion to unlock it. And in fact, I'll show you guys real quick here just what all I actually did to get this thing unlocked. I have something else? What? I'm not sure how that just happened, but okay. I'm kind of glad I had that on video because you guys just got to see me unlock a car after a season was already over. Somehow. Anyways, getting sidetracked here. All I did was the 3 PR stunts, and then I did this seasonal event, which I actually was going to do regardless because I did not have a Veneno yet, so I never decided to dump the money on one apparently, and obviously I have plenty of money to buy it. But I figured it'd be a good way just to get that extra little bit I needed, plus get me a car I don't have. So literally 4 events, plus I did the monthly rivals and online adventure, and I had it unlocked. My live stream was literally 35 minutes long, which was actually kind of a letdown. I wanted to get it close to an hour because I knew it was going to be a little bit short. But really easy to get, definitely worth adding to your collection. A great performing car. If you did want to drive it stock, it does perform exceptionally well in S1 class. It's just you're kind of locked into the stock tuning because it doesn't come on race suspension, so you can't really change a lot about the car. Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys get a chance to go out and give this car a shot yourself. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button down below, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.